Greetings, treasure hunters. I'm Steve Tassie, the board game guy, and I am here to provide you with a tutorial on how to play Itten Games' latest Crash Octopus. Crash Octopus is a dexterity game where players are deep-sea dive captains trying to collect different treasure types from the ocean while avoiding the dangerous octopus. In order to get the game set up, first you need to put out the ocean. The ocean comes in the form of a blue rope with a set of beads strung on it. Now, this does require a fair bit of table space to lay out. There we go. All of the action will take place within the bounds of that rope. This little guy is the crab. He goes at the end of the string of beads, and every time someone loads treasure onto their boat, he advances one bead. Every time he advances over a black bead, the octopus will attack. And here is the octopus. There's also the small octopus head as well, which is one of the stretch goals. Recommends that you definitely use it if you're playing with just 2 players, but it's more optional if you have 3 or 4 players. I'm going to leave it out. We're going to set up for a 4-player game. Take the octopus head, place it in the middle of the play area, and surround it by tentacles. Next thing we're going to do is place out the boats. There are 4 boats, 1 for each player. They're going to get placed at the opposite edges of the playing surface, each with an anchor and a flicking flag. To start with, place the flags in the holes on the anchors. And we have treasure. There are 5 different treasure types in the game. We have the captain, the goblet, the chest, the gem, and the gold bar. The goal of the game is to be the first captain to get all 5 items on your boat. Or failing that, when the crab reaches the last bead on the track, you want to have the most treasure on your boat. If you're playing a full 4-player game, you're going to take all 20 pieces of treasure, and you are going to shake them up, hold them over the octopus head, and drop them on the board. Anything that lands outside of the ring, you are going to drop again. That is where the treasure starts. Players now choose their boats by claiming the flag from the anchor of the boat they want the most. On your turn, you're going to do one of 2 things. You're either going to flick a piece of treasure closer to your boat, trying to get it loaded, or you're going to flick your anchor in an effort to move your boat into a more advantageous position. When flicking, you will hold your flag between your thumb and your forefinger, and you will rotate the flag in such a way that it smacks a piece of treasure or your anchor. If you choose to flick treasure, you are not allowed to flick the piece of treasure that is closest to your boat. So if orange is my boat, the piece that is closest is the gem here. So I could flick this gold bar, I could flick this goblet, I could flick any of the other pieces, but not that gem. So I'm going to flick this gold bar towards my boat. If I touch the boat, then I get to load the treasure. Since I failed, I don't load anything. My turn is over. The next player goes. When deciding what treasure to flick towards your boat, you must keep in mind that you're not allowed to flick the closest treasure. You are also not allowed to flick a treasure that you already have on your boat. For example, purple has a gold bar, which means purple cannot choose to flick the gold bars towards the boat. If I had chosen to navigate, what I would do is flick my anchor, the same way that I would flick treasure, and then move my boat into a position where it is touching the anchor, like so. Now I will flick a piece of treasure. It is not the closest to my boat. Made contact, so I get to now load my treasure anywhere onto the boat that I like. Because I loaded treasure, I move the crab 1 bead. Alright, green has loaded another treasure, which causes the octopus attack to occur. When an octopus attack round begins, the player to the left of the player who caused it to happen takes the die and will drop it onto the octopus head. Once they've resolved that roll, then the next player will do the same, and so on until the player who actually loaded the treasure gets to drop the die. If the die hits a boat, that is considered a successful octopus attack. If any treasure gets knocked off, that treasure is back in the water and no longer belongs to that captain. If the die does not make contact with a boat, then the player who dropped the die will move a part of the octopus to the position where the die is. Which part depends on whether you roll black or pink. Orange is now going to start the octopus attack by dropping the die. It did not hit a boat, so it is an unsuccessful attack. It rolled pink, so we move the octopus head to anywhere adjacent to the die that isn't touching a boat or a treasure. So the octopus head is now here, and it is blue's turn to drop the die. Okay, they also missed, and because the die went outside of the play area, nothing gets moved. It's now purple's turn. Purple did not hit a boat, and will move a tentacle because the die is black instead of pink. So put a tentacle over there. And finally, the green player gets to make the last attack with the octopus. And we'll move the head all the way over here. And that is the end of the octopus attack after green's turn, so now it is orange's turn. It's important to know that if you flick a piece of treasure onto your boat, and in so doing, move your own boat, the boat stays where it is, but if you knocked any treasure off, that treasure stays in the ocean. You do get to put the new piece of treasure on, though. If you flick in such a way that 2 or more treasures hit your boat on the same turn, you pick which one you're going to actually load on board. Anytime you load treasure onto your boat, you get to rearrange its positioning to try to make it as sturdy as possible. Green got to claim the goblet, but unfortunately lost the chest. And we have triggered another attack from the octopus. Green is the one who triggered it, so we start with the orange player. Nothing happens. Move on to the blue player. Move the head. Purple player. Move the head again. And finally the green player. Move the head. Tentacles that get knocked over during play stay knocked over until a player rolls the black face on the octopus attack die and chooses to move that tentacle, putting it upright in its new position. If you knock treasure off a boat, either with your hand while moving it or with your flag accidentally, that treasure should be placed back on the boat. If as a result of flicking a treasure, you either flick one that you were not supposed to flick, or you flick the treasure outside of the bounds of the blue rope, then the player to your left will take the offending treasure and hold it over the octopus head, dropping it back into the play area. Now, you may decide that you want to use some of the expansion content that comes with the game, such as the small octopus or the nameless island. So let's go over how those get used in setup. If you're using the small octopus, simply place the small octopus head next to the regular octopus head and then set up as per the normal rules. When you are attacking with the octopus, you may drop the die on either head, and when you roll pink on the die, you can move either head of the octopus. If you are using the nameless island, set it up next to the octopus head, and follow all the normal setup rules after that. Take the boats, place them at the various quadrants of the play area, and then drop the treasure. Any treasure that lands on the island stays on the island. If nothing lands on the island itself, you will place the closest treasure to the island on the island. Anytime the island is devoid of treasure, whatever treasure that is closest to the island in the play area washes up on shore and gets moved onto the island. The way that you get treasure off the island is not by flicking the treasure off the island and onto your boat. Instead, what you do is navigate to the island. If you flick your anchor and it makes contact with the island, like so, then you place your boat anywhere adjacent to the island, leaving the anchor where it landed, and then load treasure onto your boat, like so, then making sure to move the closest treasure to the island. If you're choosing to use the pink pirate, the game is now playable up to 5 players. To set up for a 5-player game, you will place all the boats equidistant from each other roughly around the play area, including the pirate. The pirate will get its octo-cannon piece placed next to it. If you're using the pirate for a 5-player game, you will need to change which treasures you use. Remove the gems, that's the green cube treasure piece. Don't use any of them. Instead, add in the 4 roses and the 4 bottles. There are now 6 different types of treasure and 4 of each kind. The goal is still to be the first player to get 5 different treasure types on your boat. Take all those treasures and, just like in the regular setup, drop them over the head of the octopus to see where they land, and place the closest treasure onto the nameless island, if you're using it. When using the Pink Pirate expansion, one player plays as the pirate, and they don't collect treasure in the normal way. If you're using the nameless island and the Pink Pirate, the pirate can still claim treasure off the island by hitting the island with its octo-cannon. Otherwise, the only way for the Pink Pirate to get treasure is by provoking the octopus into attacking and then successfully causing an attack against a boat. The way that works is the Pink Pirate takes their octo-cannon and they flick it towards the octopus. If they manage to hit the octopus head, they cause an octopus attack, just like crossing a black bead would. Only this time, they are the only player to drop the die off the octopus. If they successfully strike a boat and dislodge treasure, all the treasure that comes off that boat gets loaded onto the pirate ship. If the treasure that falls off the attacked ship matches a treasure type that is already on the pirate ship, the pirate does not get to load that particular piece of treasure. It just stays in the water where it is. I'm Steve Tassie, the board game guy, and that's my Crash Octopus tutorial. I hope it helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below telling us what you think about Crash Octopus from Itten Games.